I love the idea of moving away from practice assessment. I've done it with my different courses. The challenge is when you have multiple sections. You have to teach it the same way.
Well, it's not a.
But I agree with not having the same.
So, yeah.
How many different sections do you have? It's like 5 times that's. So within all the sections, right? So you're talking like 5 sections.
So.
I went to take
It's already true. My business is like
all different. Because the other one is doesn't count.
Like read or maybe anything.
Yeah,
And then you have to have buy-in.
And everything I think depending on where they are. You heard well, I've been doing it this way every time I try to put up here.
But does he have a working?
I taught a course on country account management.
That's fun.
And it was phenomenal.
Plus 2 months to the next year.
It has to
Yes, I'm looking.
You're probably this is my non-teaching summer. So I don't even know if it's me on it. Like even the chair didn't know. They're new.
Reality of it.
Yeah.
Not only do I need to think about it,
Lizzie and I have. How are we doing, Navid?
Just as
Navid's from America. We met before.
it was assessing screen on, and I know that sounds.
Everyone, and good morning. Welcome to this session. And welcome everyone. Great to see you all here. It is great to be here. Today I'm going to talk about AI and how it's changing our classes. Okay, so if you have been in the previous sessions or workshops that we had before, we were talking about how we could use AI as professors, but right now the focus that I want to have today is on how we can change student engagement. So if I'm sure that you have seen, if you're taking pictures, please send them to me as well. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, we will.
We were talking about this, student engagement. You don't want people to stay there, especially if it is a flex class or if you have online classes. You don't know what students are doing, right? Are they emptying their dishwasher, or are they listening to you, or are they actively doing something related to the course? So there were tons of resources provided by Teaching and Learning before that were giving us lots of ideas how to keep students active and engaged during the class. So what I'm going to talk about today is how to do it now with, the tools that we are having in AI. So what is happening right now, students previously were searching for information. Right now, they are learning with AI. But again, how many of your students are learning this? This is what I want to I think there should be a shift right now for many of us. If there is a possibility in your program, in your course to do this, what it means is that we are from day one, from the beginning of the semester, we are going to introduce different tools to them and then show them how they can use AI to learn better. Because there are tons of different tools, they are very helpful. And again, it could be adopted based on the students' needs. Sometimes the students learn better with pictures. Some people learn better with videos. Some people learn better when they listen to the things, right? So we need to see, we need to show them how to use the tools so that they can learn better. So how we assumed learning happened before was that we were saying, okay, students is coming to the class, the old method or the previous ways that many of us were teaching maybe, was that we were having this one. So students were coming, we were creating content on any LMS, Blackboard, for example, that we have. And then we were providing assignments and we were also giving them feedback. And then, we were saying that, okay, the assignments are different types of assignments. Why are we giving feedback? We have to be on time, all of those kind of things. But there were bottlenecks over there, right? One of them is the feedback. How long does it take for us to give valuable, understandable, I would say tailored feedback to our students? It takes time. Even if you are super fast, if you have been teaching the course for so many years and you know everything inside out, it still takes time to provide feedback. But what is happening now is that we are seeing that everything is available, right? Students can use AI, and then we are using AI as companion. So it's not that students are just cheating with AI. It's not that students are using AI to answer all the questions that, to show that they're like super smart in your class. The other thing that we have to try to see that a little bit differently and see what our role is right now. And as you can see in this diagram, I put instructor up, AI down, and then we have student and content. So one of the things that is very helpful in this case is that I know some of my colleagues, they open up their content week by week, or maybe 2 weeks ahead or something like that. But right now with AI being available, if you have everything in place on Blackboard, I recommend opening up everything. And I have seen it in my courses that when I open up the courses, some of my students in week 7, they have already done everything. They have gone through this, they have some questions about that. It makes my work a little bit different. I don't want to say it makes it worse, difficult, easier. No, but it's different because now I'm teaching module 4 and students asking about module 8, which is okay, but I have to say, if you want to learn this more, here is the way that I'm going to show it to you. For example, in week, 12, now, if you want to get the answer, here is your answer, or here is how you can use AI to get your answers. So again, these are the things or the way that I'm doing it. The good thing is that there is immediate feedback. Is that feedback really great? Is that feedback really designed well? Not always. We are using some tools. For example, I teach lots of technology courses, related to Microsoft, for example, Excel or data analytical courses, tools. One of the tools that we have is created by a company called Cengage, and that tool is really great. I use it for formative assessment because it can constantly give feedback to the students. Sometimes that feedback is wrong, right? The student said that, for example, I should use a red color, red color here, and I used it and I'm still marked wrong. But this is just one incident. Look at the rest of the things. Now, with AI, you could see that there is a possibility, again, in every single course, when you think about it, how you can add this so students can get the quick feedback from AI. Or, another thing is that if you can redesign your assessments, especially formative assessments, so that they can use that, put it in their AI tools and the Copilot, for example, at Seneca that we have, and then get immediate feedback. So again, the word companion used here is a general word, but if you really, I don't know how many of you has used Grok before, or you're using Grok. There is also another companion over there. And then the more you talk to your companion, the companion over there?
I
Which
use
one
a
do
lot.
you use?
Use any. My girlfriend.
Why I started laughing, because that is they will try to be our friends. One of them is like a teddy bear or something. The other one is like a girl, boy, like different styles, kind of like they have personas. And then you can, the more you talk to them, the more they are aware of what you do, what your style is, what you're asking, and then they will give you better answers. So all of these tools that I mentioned here, again, this companion that I mentioned here is not the companion that you see in Grok, but I would say that it is very great and beneficial for our students to see different tools, ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, NoteLM, Perplexity AI, and then get their feedback from these tools. Sometimes in some of the classes, I show them all of them. I say, like, we're going to solve this problem. Let's give it to every single tool and see which one does it better. Again, be careful about using credentials. Students can use ChatGPT. For example, in my classes, I let them know that they can use those tools, but the only approved tool at Seneca is Copilot. So they cannot log into to the other tools with Seneca credentials, but they can use it with their personal information. And again, if anybody is using any of those tools, if you are trying to showcase this or show the results to your students, please be very mindful of this, that first of all, every single day, these tools are changing. So if you experienced something 2 months ago, if you come back and say, I have used this tool, this is not doing mathematics really well. Try it today. Maybe it's doing a very good job. I have real examples of that. I was giving very complex mathematical questions to ChatGPT and was comparing it with Gemini. Gemini was giving me fantastic job, no error. ChatGPT was kind of giving me like numbers that were not always accurate. But right now, they change it. It's right now at a very, very good level, and then they're comparing with the new models. There are less hallucination, if you're aware of that concept. That was happening a lot. Now, but still, if you do not have the paid version, the answers are very different. Maybe you have experienced it. There were also another study about this, that some people, when you go with free version to paid version and then go free version, they said ChatGPT is now giving worse answer than those who just stayed as free version. So I don't know if that's a reality or not. But looking at what we are doing here, we are trying to, again, ask students, we want them to stay connected with these tools. Again, when we are talking about AI, so many of you are aware that it is more than the chat box. Now, what we are talking about it here is just like simple chat. People are putting their files there, sharing it with their AI tools, and trying to get real instant feedback. Okay? And again, we need to know if those feedbacks are correct or not. Or we want to show them are greater. See if people, okay. So what I want to emphasize is that it is not only about testing. So many of us, when we talk about AI, we think about, what's going to happen if I have an assessment, if I have my midterm exam, final exam. We need to think about it from different sides. Now, students, they have AI. What can we do, or how can they use AI before the class? what are the things that I can ask them during the class? And what are the things that they can do after the class, plus whatever they're doing for their assessments? Okay, so before the class, we can ask them to, have a preview, summarize, prepare. And again, I don't know how many of you have tried flip class, where you're asking students to read something. You said yes, right? How many, like, what is the roughly percentage of people that they are prepared when they come to the class? Yeah,
If you're lucky.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, if the content makes sense to them, if you give them some more understanding of like why they are doing it, many different factors for that. I would say that this is going to, I have seen that many students sometimes, I don't know if this has happened to you. I've also seen this. Sometimes we are in online classes, we go into some of those breakout rooms, and then people are saying, okay, so what should we do now? So they are not sure what to do. And I think this happens to them when they go home, when they want to do their assessments, when they want to do the pre-reading, and then they feel that it is not doable, then you see the procrastination happening. It's like, I will do it tomorrow. I will do it tomorrow. I will do it 2 days. I have 1 more hour. I will just check it. And then they see that they don't have enough time to do that. So I realized that when we are showing our students that they can get a summary of this, in 5 minutes, or in 2 minutes, or we can create podcasts they can listen to when they are on the bus coming to school, whatever they're doing, then we will see more better results at the end, right? So people are more engaged, they come more prepared to the classes. So this is what we see for activities before the class. During the class, again, I show my students different tools that they can use, especially if they are international students. Sometimes they don't know some of the context or concepts. I was maybe like I'm giving some examples, and I say, if someone is going from Bayview to Finch, it's like, what is Bayview? What's Finch? Like they will get confused, in some cases, if they don't have any background about it. But things like, if they have access to AI during your class, and again, you let them know how to use it, then it will be much better. Now, I want to just open up a bracket, talk about agentic AI. If you have taken any of those sessions that Linda showed us, how to create those agents, you can create agents that are specific to your class. So the student is getting more about what you have in your class, what you want to teach them. And it's not information from outside, right? For example, in paralegal, I think everything is like very Canadian, right? And if you are asking students to do their research, maybe, this is what I have seen, that I was asking students to do a research, and it was about City of Toronto. And I was reading their assignment, and in the middle it said, in our city of this, there was like another city mentioned here, and it was in England. It's like, why did you mix them up? It was some years ago that AI was not so sophisticated. So I would say that if you create those agents for yourself, show it to the students how to use them, we can have them more engaged in the class. Again, during assignments, what are the things they could do? And can they, again, thinking about formative assessments, why are we creating those assessments? If you want them, if these assessments are created for learning, then we can give them, for example, some opportunity and say, you could do this, you can refine your answers, and then submit within, 1 week of the assessment time. And then again, after, what are the feedbacks? They can get feedback on the things that you're doing, reflections, and these are like major activities. Do you have any questions so far about these things we talked about? Anything you want to discuss?
How do you manage absence? Because since you're gonna provide the content up ahead,
I believe it can impact the attendance of students.
Well, I think about how, because this is a reality. And we noticed that when we were introducing very good tools to our students, we realized that if the student is getting those amazing tools, maybe they don't join classes. But what is our purpose? The purpose is that the student, like this is my philosophy. I think that as long as the student is learning the outcomes, then we're good. I don't really mind looking at like the way that they gain that information. Maybe they were going to some other classes. Maybe they were watching LinkedIn Learning. Maybe they came to my classes. Maybe they did lots of YouTube videos, any resources or any AI tools that they use to learn it, as long as we can put a check mark and say these course outcomes are met or are understood by student, I'm okay with that. And again, it could be different from different schools, different requirements. For example, I remember, is it still Law Society is like requiring students to be in the class? Yeah, so
65%.
65%, yeah, they require them to be in a class. So, and again, students know that, right? I remember I was teaching a class. There was like one student always like this. And it's like, why do you come to class? He said, because I'm an international student. So I need to be in the class. He was like coming to the class, like sleeping all the time, right? Yes, please.
I tried an experiment like when we used to have healthy number in class, we used to do debates, and the lesser like we with flexible and we can't force them to be synchronous. We tried to substitute that because we think it builds critical thinking. So I tried using AI as an opponent individually for each student. So we would give them the debate topics, and we assign them an opposition or affirmative team, and then they would debate AI. And then we would come up with a reflection for the students to write down. And the things they've learned are not even comparable to when they were in groups. Because when they were in groups, they would understand only part of the debate that they were involved in. But the understanding about the topics, I thought I'm comparing like semester to semester. I thought it's more holistic as an experience.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Wanted to.
Yeah, not a question, just a thought, because I love how it's really well structured for us to think about different ways of learning with AI. But there's a lot of peer learning. In our program, they have WhatsApp groups because we're cohorts. We're cohorts, so we have peer learning. And they're talking to each other. They have study groups. They're online together. They share documents together, and just trying to figure out how that sort of leads into all of that.
So something that could be done is that now we are looking at tools that they can share. Lots of the tools that we have, for example, right now, Microsoft Teams, again, I was like pausing because the Teams that we have, it does not have all the functionalities of what Microsoft was added there. But tools like Microsoft Teams, students could go there, they could share information, and you can also see who is contributing how much to different activities. Also, they can use Copilot over there. And again, I think that since yesterday or something, the Seneca changed the subscription or type of subscription we had for Microsoft. So you could just think about it and see what tools are available to us. But something else that could be done is that I have also created something similar for students on Notebook LM. And when they find different things, they add it to their to the knowledge base. So there is like a knowledge area that you can add it, and then Notebook LM is only pulling information from that area. But that's amazing. Yeah, thank you.
You said that you are interested in them to learn.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what tools they are using. But I also notice what Summer is saying that in discussions, especially in written discussions and Padlet or so, I don't know, these people are PhDs. They are so good I am impressed and sometimes I have to study what they're, because it's so high level, right? So understand what they're actually saying. Then when we get to an assessment that they don't have those tools, they are so poor. So I'm not sure, are we also delusional, thinking they are learning because we have artifacts and they're showing that it's not their work, it's not their minds that is coming?
Very, very good point. Yes, please, sir.
I'm old and I remember having to write things down if I wanted to cheat. And then when I wrote them down, I actually remembered them and learned them. And then I didn't need the extra things, but I still sat next to that girl who was smarter than me.
Yeah.
And that level of thinking and that level of creative and critical thinking seems to have disappeared when they have abdicated the responsibility onto tech. And if we can get them to use it as a tool rather than a crutch, I think that's a real opportunity, because we can bring the lowest common denominator up, but what we don't want to do is destroy what's at top, because if given the opportunity, I'd have a nap. So
So my daughter uses AI and then she does an assignment and then she'll get the answer, but instead of copying and pasting, I can check to see if they've written or copied them. So she types it out, which is akin to what you
Yeah.
did. And while she types it out, she's learning it. So, I mean, they're still cutting corners. We cut corners, but I think there is some absorption even through the shortcuts. And
But I think then you would have to reevaluate the assessment methods and whether they're actually assessing the learning outcomes in the context of our teaching. Because then I think engagement should have more priority in this day and age versus the assessment, the traditional assessments that we also help.
Awesome. So yes, that is correct. So what you just said engagement, I just brought it up.
did you plan that?
The engagement, yeah, spades. So the thing is that what you mentioned, sir, as what you see is like PhD level, and we might need to go and figure it out, like how they did it, and they have no clue when they get into assessments. That is correct. And this is why we need to move to something that, again, I learned a lot about it from Linda and other great faculty at teaching and learning to create authentic assessments. And then by talking about that, I will just move on here. Is that when we are grading the final work, AI wins. If we are asking for the process, then it will be a little bit, or when we are saying, okay, what did you think? What was your thought? Or, then they need to get engaged. Or something that you said that if they have to type it, I do it differently. I ask them to present it. Okay. So right now they have everything. At the end of the semester, they have one activity that they have to do. When they are doing this, then they need to create a presentation. So they will get graded based on the presentation and all the things. Now, they need to present it themselves by the video talking about this. And then you cannot just, they should not read it from the paper. They should not read it from the screen. There are like some factors there for that like how are we going to grade them, and I make it very clear in the class. But the thing is that now they need to present it, and I hope that when they're doing this, at least they understand half of it, like what was generated by AI. They understand it. They try to internalize it and get that information. And again, the concerns are real. What you're mentioning is correct. Academic integrity, over reliance. Again, there was, if you want, there is a recent paper published by Wharton University. The professor is, if you want, I can just give you the exact names and details. It is about trusting AI. And then when people trust AI, when they stop trusting AI, what are the things that we're doing? And if you, this is what I have seen in so many workplaces, that people start using AI. If they get wrong answers, sometimes they step back and they never go in. But that's not a problem. The problem is when they see good results for the first time, for the second time, for the third time, they're checking. For the 10th time or more or less, they realize, this doesn't need me. And this is where the problem happens. You will see that AI is, for some reasons today, that amazing machine is not working as it was before. And then you're getting lots of garbage information. And again, maybe if you refresh, it will give you the good answers. But again, we have to be careful. But the risks are there. They are real. We have to show our students what the risks are and how this could jeopardize their work if they're doing it in the real world. Another thing that I do is that I sometimes ask them to do it in a way that they are working in an organization, and I show them how many organizations, lots of banks, lots of different, hospitals, different firms. There are lots of places that they do not let people use AI at all. So how to do everything in Excel using AI. Now, what if you don't have AI over there? What if they say you cannot use it? Now you're just going to sit there and say, I will retire in 2 minutes. There is no possibility. Again, so reframing the question, how do we prevent AI to use, just to say, how do we redesign or design learning where AI is more productive? Again, this means that we have to look at the tools every single day, looking at the tools and see what we have available to us. So what I want you to do for 2 minutes, you could talk to the person next to you. Try to identify where the students are likely using AI. So before learning, during learning, completing assessments, after class. And again, talk to the person next to you. So which program are you teaching? Which course are you focusing on? And then one of those would be enough. If because we just want to be mindful of the time. So one thing that you could do, one thing that you could change, and then after 2 minutes, we will choose, like some of you might want to share with us, what are the things, and again, maybe the other ones can learn it or adopt it or make some improvements to that. Okay, so are you ready for that? Yeah, okay. So I will just set the timer. Hey Siri.
Timing for 2 minutes.
Intro, I found. It's not really AI.
Using AI to answer these questions.
Is there online? They're only. I don't know.
Choice.
Need a G. Usually I see the progress.
So for CG, or.
Look at Isaac Cat, even if they're a horrible student.
Yes.
And then I give them about 4 or 5. Yeah, the 80.
I had a student who took my lecture and she loved it. He took my lecture and my slide. To slides, so much better. And then she came out the time. But she's like, here's what I created. I thought you might be interested in seeing it. I'm looking at it. It's like.
Yeah.
And then
That's If you game setting, maybe.
That's a great.
I don't enforce.
30 seconds.
Let me read this one, just- So. Maybe if I have a. So. If it is more engaging, then maybe it's more.
It's a matter of.
Depends on what you're talking about. And instead, they are actually. After 4 days study.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I understand that you have lots of amazing. Thank you. So.
So AI to them
You can continue with the rest and then.
the AI.
Okay, so everybody's okay to move on? Yeah? Okay, so thank you.
Students.
You just put AI.
Gave to this, now, anybody wants to share with us. Ignore the. That idea or a course that you have for before learning. Now, thank you so much for being so much engaged in that. Any ideas for before learning? What do you want to do for one of the courses that you have for before learning? Anybody thought about that before learning part? During learning, do you have anything for during learning? Yes, question.
When you say during learning,
When
what
students are
time
sitting
are
in the
we
class.
exact, is it just in class?
The students are sitting in the class, again, they could be asynchronous. And for example, you talk about something and say like, this is MCP. It's like, what is MCP? You know, if it was old days, people had to just sit here, take a note, go back home, to, search something, or maybe with Google, or maybe, some other ways. But now it can explain, it can give, some more definitions and the picture, and then you can see lots of things. This is like when you're doing during learning. I know what you mean, like when they are doing like during the semester, I would say like maybe even during the class could be done. So anybody wants to share anything like during, before completing assessments or after class? Yes, please, sir.
So I'll give an example of how I do it. We didn't talk about this in completing assignments. So I teach a marketing fundamentals course. Marketing plan is one of the requirements, and I basically give them a fairly short period of time to do this in their groups, about 2-3 weeks. And I said, you can completely use AI, all you want. But they work in groups, which kind of helps them check each other, I think, too. It's not just one student. So they hand in a written report. I go through it. I print it out, old fashioned. I go through, make comments. Then I meet with them, each group individually, and I basically give them about a half an hour feedback. Then the next iteration is they send in another report, and then they also present it. So that I want to obviously see the learnings, because a lot of stuff that comes back, again, they're fairly good, but there's a lot of inconsistencies. You said this, but it says over here, because then they're not matching it. Because my learning outcome is not for them to like have a launched product that's like going to actually succeed in the marketplace. It's really to understand the components of a marketing plan and what goes in it, where you can go wrong, what it's useful for, the experience of building one, etc. So I'm more checking on that, but because they're going to use AI anyway, so you might as well help guide them. And then actually, before they do that in class, we kind of use AI to kind of show them how they can do it, and again, flaws and what to check for, etc. So
Yeah, that's a very great example. Thank you for sharing. Yes.
Thanks for sharing that, but I still think that is still checking for the final output or an answer or something like that, instead of looking into process, right? I'm still struggling, and then I hope that somebody or even you could share with us how we can focus on the process, because I believe, just like you, that that should be the right direction, because otherwise Like right now, are you evaluating
But, well,
AI or are you
I-
evaluating your students?
No, well, I'm definitely partially evaluating AI, but like.
I'm sure 100%
It's-
you're evaluating
it's-
AI. I mean, maybe
No, not
5%.
100%.
Maybe 5%
Because
left.
one thing I forgot to say is like actually part of their grade is significant part is an AI, is a reflection with very specific questions on what tools do they use? How do they use AI? How do they decide when to use their human thought versus AIs as a group, like various things. But I mean, I'm partially in what the camp you're saying, which is like if they're getting to a good outcome, which is a great marketing plan and presented well, and I put a lot of emphasis on the question and answer too. That's over 50% of the grade. So that they can't fake that as much. But if they're giving me a good output, you can't totally 100% do the process because you can't sit next to them every minute they're doing this. So that's part of the struggle, obviously, right? And it's hard to scale that. So like, you know, but I want to improve for the next time too. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I would say scaffolding the assignment would help.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I have lots of paid version of all of these AI tools that are available. When we are scaffolding the assessments, we are saying that, okay, you're doing this step today. For example, thinking about, again, whatever you want to do, like think about project management, right? So you're going to have a contract. Now let's work on the contract. Now you pass the contract, you're going to build up your team. What are you going to do? You know, if every single step in the process is becoming one sort of assessment, again, if you want to test that, then this is that you will see their progress and then you will see how they are doing it. I understand. I can always say that, yes, these are like smaller chunks that could be done by AI, but then the consistency. And then when you even the paid version of like cloud AI that's used right now in military, it cannot give you the consistent answer, which is connecting everything. And the student should be very knowledgeable right now at the moment we're talking and have access to lots of different resources to do this. If they want to do it right, and if they want to give consistent answer, which is connecting all these things together and giving the final results. Yes, please.
One thing just to note before I give you my example is, like, I think we should be careful, like, just assuming that learning only is happening in the classroom.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, after class, I think we should say before class, during class, or something like that. But because, like, I know when we're designing our courses now, we tend to look at it from a universal design for learning perspective, and not assume all students learn in the same way. As like try to provide different levels of and modes of engagement, allow for students sort of different assessment methods as well to vary them. So the example I wanted to share was from before class. When I get to the more advanced topics in my class, I tend to use it even more by asking my students, like every time I finish a class, I recap and then I introduce what we're going to do next. So I ask my students to ask ChatGPT, ask Copilot about, so let's say next week we're discussing simple regression analysis, ask an AI to explain it to you in simple terms. And I found that to improve the readiness for the class and the engagement in the upcoming class. So whenever we come to class next time, I ask them who did that and what can you tell me from what the AI explained to you. And I find it like fascinating that you get more engaged, not the accuracy of what they give you, but more engagement, but just by giving them that.
And this is how I think adults are learning, right? So we connect things that we like, whenever we are learning something new, we connect it to the things that we learned before. If you don't mind, I would just answer, or we can talk about it at the end because we have just 5 more minutes to finish this. Let me just move on and then we can come back. So again, we can see where AI could be added to our courses. Again, think about it from different perspective, from the professor's perspective, from students' perspective, and again, different stages that we can add it. And again, the patterns to listen for. Let's see where students are using it. Are they using for example, as you said, are they using it for understanding the things better? Are they using it more for their assessments? Is it more for exam review. You know, exam review is like a very, very good example that the students can use this, because instead of going through, I don't know, 10 recorded sessions each 3 hours, it's going to be like 30 hours of that. They could just use any AI tool and take the gist of it, or just have a review and or create a test based on a quiz to just test themselves and get comfortable for the exam. And again, these are the things that I'm trying to do, so to design with AI, not against it. Make thinking visible, again, not just answers. You know, I remember when I was going to university, my professor was saying, like, you need to give me the last number. If it is like 1.7, if you're just giving it to me, good. If not, you're going to get 0. Now this is going to be totally different. And again, this means that we need to be very creative right now with our multiple choice questions if you're still using it, because AI is doing it fantastic. I just wanted to say thank you for talking about UDL, and that reminds me of Sherry Perkins that teach lots of things that she taught a lot to many of us about that. So to remember that. Guide responsible use explicitly and create feedback loops that matter. Again, feedback loops are very important. And again, as I said, I create assessments that are for learning, and they can submit that. Again, it's open. They will have 1 week or 2 days or 3 days, whatever, to do it. And they can do it again and again and again. And in some of the tools that we have, they can submit. And then I only grade the one that is the highest. And it doesn't mean that everyone is getting 100%. Some people say, I got 70%, I'm okay with that. I don't want to get off it. Or I don't have time for it, whatever. And in the future classrooms that we are seeing right now, we are living in the future. We are not, again, we can see that the learning is not going away, but it's reshaping how it happens, right? Our role is different to design the experience that we really want to see. And this takes us to the questions part. You can stay connected with me on LinkedIn. I post things related to this. I would be happy to also hear what your thoughts are, or if you're posting things relevant, it's also very nice to see and read them. Now, do we have some more time?
What we can do is we can wrap up, and then if you want to stay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if there is anything, sorry that I caught you, so I'm happy to.
Going back to books.
Before and after. Yeah, actually, the credit version. Somebody wants them. Yeah, right. Some way I understand what you're saying in time.
Very engaging work.
Well, you can see the students.
Stay for a few minutes and continue talking. Just wanted to let everybody know that we're officially on lunch break now. Please do join us back at 1:15 in K 2100 down in the main hall for a keynote speaker. Ayun Ishimura, who's going to be talking about building trust with our students. I think that's a really relevant topic. So feel free to continue this conversation. Thank you, Navid, so much.
Yeah, so thank you.
Yeah.
And part of it is if I can rebound it quite a bit. That's why I'm very interested.
I keep forgetting that I have it.
Question for you.
Still, I haven't got the answer.
The great debate about involving
Like,
I am this big 5 years.
yeah.
And I made the same argument to him. Response was, I don't care. So this is
Something.
That is not a concern at all. Your concern is assessment. So, guys, you and I mean, any faculty, you're.
And so this is the thing, because it's like part of it.
Because our goal, our job is
Not convinced.
say,
that
okay,
screens
this
and
is
AI
not good as course. And I know somebody said, they have learned this and that, right? Or they've learned this from.
None of this actually.
And this is the great thing, God, but that shows that how much of a good job you've done.
So
And I don't mind replacing our.
that's what I read was, screens were in.
As long as that's something else that is valid. I don't wanna get as and say, oh, go and live anywhere. It's the direction of college students. Like, the monitoring option. They're not, they have restricted people to find the license. The license is not expensive at all. The additional 1,000 students. Like $2 per
Generation.
$2.
Oh, you need to watch it. It's the stupidest generation. Like every generation has done.
I mean,
a certain advance, and now we've got like. So I see that,
But then,
where
at
I'm
the
like.
time that you don't have any other solution, like things are actually. Learning, like, you know, you get this.
Better, because at first I thought maybe it's so much, but I'm like, figure it out, like, how do I figure it out? That ability, like, things gone now, everything's.
There is a way to cheat it.
You don't need much.
Cheat, but it use the number, make it harder, right?
Seen from.
Instead of saying, oh, go and do it forever, and then they're gonna sit together and say,
Parties
okay,
like
let's
watching
do
TV,
things
there's like.
together, you know?
And different channels.
That's just stupid, like, you know.
Bring life better.
As at all, you know?
We all know. We are gonna get.
Sorry.
Or doesn't mean I.
Some people go, that's.
Sorry, if I'm not.
If you're applying that test that we were doing, it's not.
That's fine.
I don't tell you.
I disrupt.
I don't agree.
Trying to,
Organize and consolidate.
The other way. That's not disrupt.
Your point.
Talking about guy came 1 hour drive to.
We have Skynet. That's how.
Like that, so.
They know from my standpoint, business person, bucks I made. It's the point blank, your generation is being fired in this rate. 23% of you are gonna lose your job.
Done that.
In addition to the fact there are fewer jobs out there, so it's hard. So when you get it. Buy your land or to then elevate, create solutions that